What are the restrictions on the work of U.S. person under the new regulations of BIS?
A couple of thoughts about it. First is it is important for these individuals to learn what they can do and what they cannot do. The rules are reasonably clear about what they can do and what they can't do. And it's not true that the mere fact that you're a US citizen and you work for a Chinese company is a problem. It's a very narrow scope of activity that is forbidden under the regulations. It's if you're a US person, you've got to be careful not to participate in the supply of certain types of items that are used in development or production of semiconductors at certain advanced semiconductor fabrication facilities in China. And also, you need to be sure not to participate in certain types of activities relating to the supply of items that meet certain parameters on the export control list, regardless of who you're supplying it to. So again, it's just certain narrow scopes of activity, but you do need to be very careful if you're a US citizen to make sure you don't engage in any of that activity. Second, I think there will be some leniency on the part of the US enforcement authorities for making honest mistakes, at least at first. But I can't overemphasize, US citizens working in China are well advised to be very careful about these new rules.
What restrictions do the new BIS regulation impose on companies in Europe besides China and the United States?
Well, they certainly will be affected because these restrictions apply extraterritorially. They are extraterritorial. They don't just apply to activity within the United States. They apply to activity outside the United States. And so for a European company, for example, that is trading with China, these rules can apply to its activity in a couple of ways. First of all, they can apply by virtue of the European company supplying to China items that are subject to the export administration regulations. Even if they might be made in Europe, they are connected, they can be connected to the United States in certain ways that cause those items, whether it's equipment, software, or technical information, to be subject to the export administration regulations. For example, under the so-called foreign direct product rule. Second, and much more so now, the European companies can be affected by virtue of having personnel who are US citizens. And because the European companies have US citizens, they're going to have to be careful about what they do with respect to China, because those US citizen employees have to be careful about what they do with respect to China.
What is your opinion on the increase in compliance and management costs of global semiconductor companies?
Yes, I think that is a very important point. Whether you're a US company or a Chinese company or a company based in a third country, it is advisable to think hard about how your compliance arrangements should be adjusted to account for these new rules. That should be a priority for companies all over the world.